And here we go with live Friday night radio here on UCY.TV. This is the Boiler Room, and I am your host, Jim Funke, and the other host over there on the East Coast, Mr. Lance Musser. Good evening, Lance Musser.
Hello, Senor Funke.
How you doing, brother?
¿Cómo estás? And you may wonder why I'm speaking Mexican.
Yeah.
Because the government, isn't doing anything about immigration. So as a public PSA, as a public service to all the listeners and everybody else, I'm going to be trying to do a public service and just teach everybody a word of the day. The Mexican word of the day is wheelchair.
Wheelchair.
You got it?
Okay.
Jose and I only have one taco, but it's okay. Wheelchair.
That's funny.
So there is your Mexican word of the day as a public service announcement, because we all need to start learning it.
You realize that we just wasted 60 seconds. We'll never get back. I'm just messing with you, man. How's things going over there?
Wonderful. It was the interesting. It was the same wind today that we had yesterday, but 20 degrees difference in the
wow, really? Was it blowing
in the
hard?
Air temperature. Yeah, it was blowing windy, but 50s. A nice, gentle, not a cold wind at all. So it was good.
Nice. Yeah, it was cloudy and crappy most of the day here until about 2 this afternoon. And then the sun started breaking through the clouds and it got warmed up. I mean, as soon as the sun hit the ground, it warmed up at least 10 degrees. And when the wind died down, and now it's just gorgeous, man. I mean, the sun's going down. It's beautiful out there right now. I'm kind of patrolling my little wood line here, looking for some deer movement, but I don't see anything quite yet. Sun's staying up late, though. I almost missed the show. I pulled the jewels, ran in here with 3 minutes to spare, jumping through hoops, getting on the air. So.
Yeah, usually I get my 1 hour warning, and I didn't get that from you.
Nope, I wasn't even sitting in front. I was outside actually an hour ago, messing with my solar panels and stuff, and kind of looking at wired distances. And we're getting ready to. I might try to push that pole up tomorrow by myself because I'm not going to have any help until Monday. But we'll see. I don't know. I got a couple things to do tomorrow too. I want to try to run up out on Push Mountain Road to Dave's house and take a look at what he's got going on out there. He's starting a greenhouse. I might actually build a greenhouse myself too. Mm-hmm. Scab it together out of shit. So
we'll dig it a couple feet into the ground, or as far as you can down before you hit the rock stuff. Remember, like that pool, if you ever have an old pool, that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that was the underground thing, and they had the roll across top and all that. That was really, really cool, but I'm not digging a pool in my yard.
No. Mm-mm. No, but a greenhouse, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to do it. I looked at some kits online. I've talked to you about the growing spaces thing, and they're really, they're cool as hell, and they're all hail proof and all that shit with the heavy duty Lexan panels, but they're effing expensive. And I figure if I can save a bunch of money and do it myself, why not? You know what I mean? I might be able to figure out how to do the geodesic dome and then just use some different stuff.
Right.
Not the high end. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be fun to try.
Keep taking the videos. It's interesting to watch for sure.
And I lost them all with my phone.
Oh, yeah. You might want to ask if anybody else that happened to anybody else too.
Oh, I know. Jules talked about it that morning actually on the air on her show, the day that happened to me. That my phone got corrupted by iTunes.
Right. That's weird.
Yeah, lost all my photos, lost all my video that I took of putting this whole system together and whatnot. And what else? Contacts. I lost a bunch of contacts. I'm glad I had them saved on other devices that I've got here. But
if you go to your text messages from me, I'll bet all those videos are still there where you sent them to me.
No, that's all that data's gone.
Oh, well, and I should be able to pull your old text up and send them back to you then.
Yeah, you might be able to. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I was going to scab all that stuff together and make one long video out of it. So, but anyway.
I will definitely try to do that for you.
That was a very frustration-filled day, so we'll go ahead and just
they're all there. I'm just looking at them right now. They're all still there. So
Sweet.
I can send them back to you.
Right on.
If we're going to dive into the market part of it
let's
now.
Smoke'em's Market Minute.
It's one of those weird days where every single thing was in the red.
We need to get the sound of a pig squealing or something to play for that.
On the soundboard, yeah. It's at 16,065. So just 65 points away from, dropping below the 16,000 mark again. But all of them, I mean, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the bonds, interest rates even took a little bit hit today, which is always interesting when that happens. Always interesting when that happens.
Why's that?
Because
all
usually
shaky and scared and
usually when the stock market and the Dow and stuff is taking a beating, people are putting their bonds, into the safety of bonds because
their money. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why usually bonds will, do well when the stock market's doing bad and vice versa. There's a run on the market, so people are pulling their money out of bonds and then trying to make the quick buck. Probably follow Manarino's money.
Right. So when everything's down and the bonds are down and stuff, then gold should be up. Yeah. What's gold doing? What's commodities doing?
I had just read that. It went up a little bit today too. And I just clicked off that screen or else I would have clicked on it. But actually there is, one of the things that is in one of the stories is why you should go ahead and get your precious metals now.
Okay. I'm going to pull up a Kitco while you're doing that.
All right. Because the stage is set for the great unraveling with a jolt. Many of those who observe the daily news, we're beginning to figure out that we're being fed misinformation and that neither party, political party that is, truly represents us. Or for that matter is even concerned about our welfare at all.
Break channel.
Those folks are now navigating in the dark. And as the great unraveling, all capital, progresses, they're being caught unawares and unable to even understand what has occurred.
Does it really say unawares?
It does.
Wow. Somebody's typing Southern.
Yeah. Unawares, or fancy. Only a year ago, the average person was hanging on to the belief that the world was in a state of recovery. And that's true. And I, a lot of people were thinking that back then. It was on the men, and that's understandable because the media, obviously, they've done a pretty bang up job of, trying to convince people that. Because if the stock market's doing well, the economy's doing well. That's what everybody correlates it to. You know that. The common person that they hear, hey, the stock market's up 16,000. Holy crap, we must be.
Attention humans, that is a lie.
Here's one. My real estate, how many people in the room, if they own property, how many of their real estate taxes went up last year? I guarantee you just about 100% of them did. Oh, yeah. At least all of ours did around here. So you've got all these quote unquote indicators. But they liken the situation to somebody who finds themselves in their house with all the lights. They stumble around in the dark trying to feel their way, and they can picture where everything is, but they're having trouble navigating it. And that's what's going on in the market right now. The bull markets.
And then you step in the cat box. Anyway, go ahead.
But the bull markets, major bull markets, rarely end in a whimper. And that's where, how much longer we get to go on it. So the stage is definitely set for that. The weekend is going to be really interesting. The article I'm reading now, it's Friday morning, so this is read this morning. And the prospect of sum of all fears is creeping into the global consciousness. In other words, realization of reality is slowly but surely taking hold, which is at the moment, there's even unprecedented doses of money printing, market manipulation, and propaganda, and none of it's working.
Right. So you've got, I mean, once you've got your eyes open, you can see right through all that shit.
You can, and it's hard to go back asleep again. But you've got this weekend, with that Crimea, thing coming up, the referendum or whatever they called them.
And we've already said that we're not even going to recognize it. It doesn't matter what your humans want over there. Our humans aren't going to recognize your humans as being free.
Is it just
to
us
make their own
saying that,
decision.
or is it the EU saying it with us?
Well, all of the above.
I thought so. So, I mean, you've
What
got
kind of
the
shit is
EU
that, man?
saying-
Who is the EU to go into a sovereign nation and say, I'm sorry, we know that you really, really want to be with Russia, but we don't want you to be with Russia and we're not going to recognize it, so shove it.
But where's the double standard? Because if you look at the laws and everything else, the prime minister who was kicked out, Yanukovych, whatever his name is,
Yep.
he was democratically elected and thrown out in an undemocratic way. So obviously America's okay with that.
With a CIA-backed and Mossad-backed military coup, or not military coup, but civilian coup.
Yeah, we're okay with that change of government, but not a change of government that's going to go back towards Russia. Let me think about that for a
That's
second.
two totally different countries, too. There was nothing going on in Crimea. That was all happening in Maidan Square up in Ukraine, up in Kiev,
Yeah.
whatever. Olga said, pronounce it Kiev.
Kyiv.
So, that nothing had nothing to do with Crimea. When all that shit started going on up there, Crimea was like, hey, those people are crazy. We want to stay with Russia. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're having this parliamentary decision or whatever, because they were kind of a offshoot of Ukraine, right? And they were like, no, we don't want to be no more because you guys are crazy. So this has absolutely nothing to do with all that shit that was going on in Ukraine.
Nothing.
No, this referendum's all on their own. And the only reason that the U.S. is pissed is because Russia's got a bunch of troops in there and they're allowed to have a bunch of troops in there.
25,000.
Right. And now since they only had 16,000 and they're allowed 25, since they started building up their troops, now the whole mainstream media over here is going, oh my God, Russia's moving into everybody. No, they're not. They're still not even to their 25,000 limit yet.
Right.
They're only at about 21. So, it's just a bunch of propaganda. Keep going.
Every single thing we see is propaganda. I mean, it's,
even a lot of the shit on RT, and I knew it was coming because they were, but it just makes me sad.
Yeah. I look at RT a little bit different now after this Ukrainian thing, and I think everybody should. I took them a little bit more, how do I say? I put a little bit more faith in them than I do NBC, CBS, et cetera, Fox over here. But after this Ukraine thing, I've really seen that if it's got to do with making Russia look bad, it's not going on that station. So how is that any different than our mainstream media?
Well, not on their headline news. Like Abby Martin will still speak her truth if she wants.
Right. I wish Palin hadn't coined that term lamestream media because I love that term because they are lame, but I won't say it a bunch because everybody thinks back to a pig with lipstick.
Sarah.
Yep.
Sarah Big Boobs Palin. That's all. I mean, that's why they trumped her out on stage, man. She had big boobs and nice legs, right? So they were like, hey, we'll get all the horny guys to vote for Republicans.
No. I think we've talked about it on there. I think the reason she was picked is because everything was indicating that Hillary Clinton was going to be the running mate.
Oh, yeah.
And
see, that's what my board's been doing that, man. My board's been doing that.
Well, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I've said that before, that I think the only reason she was picked is because everybody assumed Hillary was going to be, and they were going to try to fight fire with fire, if you will, and then it backfired on them. But that was just my take on it. Next story, second to last story. In case you hadn't heard about there's another banker that killed himself by throwing himself in front of a train. And according to witnesses, I haven't seen any, security footage.
Nope.
But according to witnesses, he did jump.
But it didn't say that in any of the stories that I read. It just said that he was found dead on the tracks. It didn't say that he jumped or was pushed, or they just said they found a dead body on the tracks.
Yeah. But according to witnesses, he did jump. And
if it's a subway, you don't even have to get hit by the train. You hit that third rail, dude, you're smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Cause those things run some serious amperage to push in cars. So, hey, I apologize to everybody in the chat and everybody that was listening if that little board flip out hurt your ears or anything like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. And then my last story, wrapping up this part of the market part, is that in Ukraine, there was obviously a bank run today, because everybody is concerned about the uncertainty over, and when I say Crimea, down in the peninsula, that's where they were lining up. A spokesman for the Privat Bank said all banks in the Crimea region are struggling to deliver more cash, and they have put $150 daily withdrawal limits across all of Ukraine.
That's not a lot of money when you got a bunch of kids to feed.
Hell no. And I don't know if their banks are open Saturday, so I mean they'll be able to go get another $150 out tomorrow. Then the referendum on Sunday, and John Kerry saying you have until Monday to change your ways or whatever.
Yeah, what was that? What kind of threat is that? You know,
I don't know.
You guys over in Russia got until Monday to change your way of thinking, or 40 lashes with a wet noodle. You know, what, or what? Or we're going to start World War III, you jackass? What? We're going to throw a bunch of, sanctions against the Russians. Yeah, I got to tell you guys something up there in Capitol Hill.
That'll backfire.
Yeah, in case you're not paying attention, they are so large. Just their size alone in area of the world makes them almost autonomous. Do you people get that up there in Washington? Do you people get that? Your sanctions are a joke. Your government is a joke. All of your threats are veiled. People, we see right through your shit.
China's not going to stop importing to them or exporting to them.
Neither is Iran. Neither is anybody else that's got any kind of
a lick of sense.
Right. So shut up already. Pay attention to what's going on in this country like you really give a damn.
It's like a game of shirts and skins, man. Everybody's divvying up right now. It's
yeah, but like I said, Bronco, I realize that, and I'm falling into the trap. I really think that this government's run by itself. But Bronco's just saying what he's told to say. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Putin is or not, but I can tell you this. Putin's playing for keeps, and Bronco's playing a game because he's never been here before. He's never done this before. He doesn't have any experience in doing what he's doing, and he's listening to a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, he doesn't need experience. I mean, how do you have experience running a country? You don't. So, I mean,
if you run a large corporation or something, I mean, that's kind of experience. If you've run a state before, that's kind of experience,
You either do what you're told, or you get killed, or you serve one term. Well, those are your choices.
I got that.
Yeah, those are your choices. All right. And it's funny because I had a training session yesterday in Virginia Beach. So I rode over with a couple people from the office, and the ride over was uneventful. We chatted, but on the ride back, one of the guys, I said something about the government, and he knows that I had always been a Democratic, a liberal Democrat.
Right.
And he's like, well, that's kind of weird talk from a liberal Democrat. I was like, oh, now we got it. The door's open. And man, them poor people in the car for the next 25 minutes had to hear me screaming outside the window at cars driving by, just, exasperated because I was in a car full of people that, still voted and everything else. And, I just had to try to wake them up. And they're like, damn, what's dinner around that table, around your table at night? And I'm like, well, I'm not allowed to talk about it in my house because my wife don't want to talk about it. That's what I said. My wife don't want me to talk about it.
Man. So what else
she just says, protect us.
Protect us, yeah.
That's right.
Stock up on
that wraps up my market 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Well, no, it hadn't been 20. We were kind of
going 15. Off on tangents. We talked in the first.
All right. So we're going to go over here and grab Scott and let him do his 2 minutes and something. I listened to it earlier today and it was actually pretty good, but I can't remember it. I had a lot of stuff going on today. Oh yeah, they were talking about the bank runs too. 206 today.
Hello, this is Scott and this is a Hyper Report. Today's report is sponsored by the free book.
Whoopsie. I forgot to mute the room. That doesn't usually happen. Well, occasionally it happens, I reckon. So we'll start Scott over. Man, this has just been like a debacle.
Hello, this is Scott and this is a Hype Report. Today's report is sponsored by the free book Ramblings of a Madman. Here are the quotes for various items. First, Crimea bank runs. A new normal has come to this eastern Ukraine region. Long lines of bank ATMs as bank runs have begun. Like Cyprus, Ukraine's debt is pricing in a burden-sharing haircut for bondholders. Needless to say, as the global systemic financial crisis continues, look for more hotspots and bail-ins. Next, Dr. Copper. Is the price of copper trying to tell us something? It has been a very accurate indicator to the health of an economy since its use is in all levels of real manufacturing. The higher the price, the more an economy is growing. So far this year, the price of copper has dropped in the same manner as it did back in 2008. Next, massive selling. David Stockman, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under Reagan, believes investors should not buy any dips in the stock market because there's going to be a massive selling panic in stocks. He goes on to say that central banks are out of control. They have expanded their balance sheets in a way that historians someday will properly and soberly describe as lunatic. He recommends that people keep liquid and keep out of the risk asset markets. Next, veto. Obama has threatened to veto a bill that requires him to follow the law. Hell, why would Obama want to follow the law since not following has worked so far for him? Next, Monsanto goes natural? Monsanto is known best for its creation of GM foods and crops. With the pushback on GMOs, Monsanto will now be introducing new crossbreed vegetables. In short, they are trying to sweep their likely criminal activity under the carpet. Next, engineering mistakes. From stairs that ascend into a roof to ATMs that are 6 feet above the ground, please review these laugh-out-loud pictures of engineering mistakes from around the world. Then ask yourself, where did these people get their engineering degrees? Speaking of education. Next, preschoolers. A recent UC Berkeley study revealed that preschool-aged children are better at figuring out how to use technological gadgets than college students. So, not only is the education system dumbing down Americans, it may be causing their natural cognitive abilities to deteriorate as well. This may be one reason why Harry Reid is insisting that daycare is a necessity. Finally, please prepare now for the escalating economic and social unrest. Good day.
As a former driver of a semi, I can tell you that an ATM 6 feet off the ground would have been extremely handy in certain locations.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I did go to that engineering website. There's some pretty cool stuff on there. So if you're watching that video and you see that link, hit on it. You'll enjoy it. How far does $150 go? And is it 150 US dollars that they're allowed to draw from the bank? Or is it 150 Ukrainian dollars?
No, it was $150. It said their currency,
Right.
It said the denomination of their currency, and then parentheses it said $150.
Well, $150 in Ukraine might go quite a ways. I don't know. That's still, but putting a limit on your money, on the money that's legally yours, that you should be able to withdraw however much you want. You know, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I mean, I would, if it were me and I lived there, I would be a little concerned on, who owns the banks. So
how much of it's going to be left when they open back up?
Thank you. If we switch countries, are the people back in the bank now going, no, sorry, we're sticking with the EU side of this, and, they said we can't give you your money. They don't know.
Because they wanted to build another CERN machine. Oh, sorry.
You mean a Rothschild controlled bank?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, you want to play Manarino's clip from Tuesday?
I mean, we don't have to. I mean, it's
no, I want you to.
Yeah.
We're going to play it because you said you wanted to play it. You're part of the show now. So, I mean, you're 50% of the show. So if you want to do it, we're going to do it. I want you to explain to everybody why we're going back in time in the Wayback Machine to Tuesday's clip. I want you to tell everybody why it's so important that they hear what this man has to say.
It was actually one of them that had nothing to do with making you rich, but it was all about layman terms, a really good analogy broken down into layman's terms that I think everybody can easily understand.
What in the hell is that? There we go. Okie dokie. And I like Greg. I think he's a lot more awake than I ever gave him credit for being. And
I do too. I think he's got a bunker somewhere. He's ready.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back to Tuesday. That's going to be Tuesday. Oops.
The 11th.
Right. I have to go way back. Here we go. 4 days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Why You Must Own Gold. That's the title of it, everybody. Is it going to play?
And if after 5 minutes, I mean, he repeats anything, we can always run him off.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Gregory Manarino. How are you today? It's Monday, March 10th, 2014. All right, people, I'm going to cover a lot of things with you today. And
all right, let's see if this one's it.
And I don't know for sure that he's
one
got
talking
a
about. Damn, all these ads, man. Every freaking time you click on something now on YouTube, you get a damn ad.
hi, everybody. It's me, Gregory Manarino. How are you today? It is Friday.
Oh, shit. Okie dokie.
Well, we can save it for another day.
No, that's all right. I'll find it. I just got to find the right one. I mean, I'm going through his channels. That's the one that we just played. 7, 8. I want 6. Putin about to cut the Ukraine in half, right?
Maybe that one.
It's going to be another ad. Jesus, man, I can't believe these ads. This is just ridiculous. You people aren't selling shit on this fucking network, so.
It's got to be
Hi, everybody. It's me,
monetized.
Gregory Manarino. How are you today? It is Friday.
Well, I just clicked on that. Ding blam it. The next video is going to be Monday. And the next video should be Tuesday. Hard pullback of the stock market. Do you remember that title?
Mm-mm.
Oh, damn it.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Gregory Manarino. No, you're not dreaming. This is the second video I'm doing today. I just did one earlier.
That was Monday.
Hours ago.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So this one should be it.
Yeah.
Putin to crush the U.S. economy.
I thought it was that one.
And this is, we talked about this too a couple different times. You know, it'd be so easy.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Gregory Manarino. How are you today? It is Tuesday, March 4th, 2014.
Here we go.
All right, people.
No, that's March 4th.
Well, Jesus. Okay. We'll fucking do it later. I'm not going to dig through this whole
later.
goddamn site trying to find the right video. I don't know what's going on with it. You know, deeper losses, blah, blah, blah. When the hell is that? Epic rise in gold and silver is coming.
Well, I will say we can talk about the Malaysia thing because the hijacking theory sure is gaining a lot of affirmation, if you will.
Yeah. There's the U.S. has expanded their search grid to the west of Vietnam for 1,000 miles.
I got a question for you.
1,000-mile square grid. And that's where Diego Garcia is. And we've got a base in Diego Garcia. Go ahead.
Who has the best and most surveillance of any country in the world?
Probably the U.S. or China.
I would say the U.S. I'd say we could agree, maybe not even arguably, that it's the U.S. So just like you mentioned, we're searching over on the west side now.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you be following the people that have the best technology on the planet? Wouldn't you be looking where they're looking?
But why are they the only ones looking there? And why is the U.S. the only one saying?
You just answered your own question.
Well, I know. I'm just playing devil's advocate for a minute. Okay. Why is the U.S. the only one saying that this plane stayed in the air for 4 hours after its transponder was turned off? They said that it was pinging a satellite every hour on the hour for 4 hours before it went dark. So, you know what? Nobody else said that. The owners of the freaking plane didn't say that. You know, Boeing said that there was some kind of technology in the engines that they bought from whoever that said that they were sending data back for hours and hours after the transponders went off, that the engines were still running fine and cool and blah, 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 blah. Then they come out and said that the transponder was switched off. And then there was another unit that sent telemetry as to where it was located on the planet, you know, not just pinging the airplane number and where it was going and what the flight, you know, was and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, there was some other telemetry that was coming in on a regular basis. So first the transponder goes off, and then 10 minutes later that thing gets shut off. So they said it's either somebody went through and manually switched all this shit off as they were flying, or there was a cascading power failure in the plane.
Right.
So
one of the things that I heard, and it actually holds a little bit of water, because if you remember, there was like a 10,000 feet drop in altitude or rise, one of the two. Remember, it jumped either up or down 10,000 feet. And I thought it was down.
What? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, even the Dabu 7 one, when he was following it, and then that other plane was following it on the radar, and maybe somebody else in the room.
They said they made a 15-degree turn to left or right or something like that.
No, not just the turn, but it was an altitude, and it was Dabu because he was hovering over it, and he said it was at 37,000, and then it went up a big number or down a big number, and I can't remember which. But somebody was hypothesizing that would be indicative of if it was hijacked and that somebody took over the plane that really wasn't overly familiar with the plane, and they just switched it off of, you know, autopilot or whatever it was to get it going.
And it took a great big dump.
And then, it took a great big old dump. So, you know, I heard that today and I was like, that could be. I could see that.
Okay. Here's the one other thing that I got. These people are saying that this thing made a 180-degree turn and went back across the islands and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
How could the local radar not see that? You know, because that's shooting radio waves out and bouncing it down. I mean, they can see birds and shit. If there was a jumbo jet flying around, unless there was some serious technology going on that plane and they had some kind of cloaking device to where it would only look like a bird or something. Yeah, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
There's how many spy satellites up in space?
Right.
You can't tell me that every single square inch of this planet isn't under a football instant replay at any given time. They can go back, search an area, follow that plane from where it took off at the airport, run through the satellite photos, and
you catch planes.
Somebody knows where that is. You can see a plane on Google Map when you're looking at Google Earth.
You can go across the planet and catch planes flying through the sky, you know.
And they're all over the airport. So you can't tell me that they couldn't go back in time.
And this is a big goddamn plane. This is a Boeing 777.
Somebody knows by now.
Seats 300 people. You know, that's like it's not the size of a 747-300, but it's a big son of a bitch.
Did we bring up all the 37s on air, or did we just talk?
No, I never got into that.
Can I bring it up real quick?
Sure.
I think it's pretty good. It's flight 370. It was disappeared from radar at 37,000 feet. The flight itinerary was 3,700 kilometers. One of the guys whose passport was stolen was 37 years old. And the flight, the type of a plane, is a 777, which is 3 sevens.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the actual quote. This is from Ground Zero Media. Here's the wake and bake stats for flight 370. It disappeared on March 7th, 37.
Yeah, there was another one.
While reportedly traveling 3,700 kilometers. Flight 370 flew at an altitude of 37,000 feet when it was last reported using flight tracking software. Luigi Maraldi, age 37, was one of the individuals whose passport was stolen. Malaysia Airlines is one of Asia's largest, flying nearly 37,000 passengers a day. Tick, tick, tick. 37, 370, sevens, threes. What's up with that? I mean, I know a lot of people in this, a lot of people that listen to this network aren't really into numerology. Some people are, but it's kind of weird, you know. You might want to Google threes and sevens and find out what kind of,
you know, here's another thing. Because I have an iPhone, somebody can find me no matter where I'm at.
Oh yeah,
because
the NSA can tell you where you are within 3 yards.
Thank you. So, you know, where's the talk about the phone companies?
Yeah, the 200 phones that were on that plane.
Yeah, the phone companies come out and have either denied or said, you know, well, we tried to put a search on them and we can't find them. Or you haven't heard boo about that, but why?
You tell me what you think.
You know, I got to reserve all my true opinions. I mean, I really don't even have a true opinion. I'm thinking hijacked. I'm thinking if it existed, if it even existed, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's just 9/11 was a big farce, you know, about those planes never even existing. Which I'm sure it wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon, but about the flights never even originating.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So, you know.
And here's another thing.
I don't know.
Malaysia. Okay. Here's another thing. And besides the transponder and, some other shit that they've got on there that tells everybody where the planes are, there's another system on board all major commercial flights, even the little 2-engine prop jobs that puddle jump from port to port, you know, across the state. They have a thing, and this was brought up during 9/11 too. They have a thing in the cabin called ACARS, ACARS. It's the Airborne, Communications and Relay System or something like that. ACARS. Now this thing is like a text messaging system that you can use from plane to plane, plane to ground, ground to ground, however you want to do it. You can send plane messages from pilot to pilot, different airplanes, blah, 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 however you want to do it. And you can communicate with the ground without having to key the mic. This ACARS thing, every 30 seconds transmits a blip to the nearest cell tower type of deal that it, you know, that it transponds across. And it lets everything on the ground so it knows how to switch transponders as the thing's flying across the United States, and it can switch towers and you know, it can track it. On 9/11, the ACARS system tracked both the planes that supposedly hit the towers about 2 hours after that happened, going over Bloomington, Illinois.
Right.
Okay. The ACARS system in the Malaysia plane was never turned on.
Right. So there's something fishy about all of it, and that it's all over mainstream media, and that's all that we're talking about. Nobody's talking about Ukraine. Nobody's talking about the, well, financial, you know, economy, if you will, or the health of it.
Right.
That is all of our focus right now. So, you know, if it was orchestrated, it is surely doing a good job.
It is doing a good job, and stop calling me Shirley. Okay. Here's another, and I gotta give some props to Ground Zero Media and Clyde Lewis. Clyde Lewis does a show, out of Oregon, Portland, Oregon, called, Ground Zero, nightly, weeknights. It's a 5-hour show. If you catch the entire thing, he talks a lot, and he's good. The whole thing's good. The whole show's excellent. He's got a lot of call-ins and stuff like that. But anyway, the other night I was listening as I was going to bed, and he was talking about this Malaysia flight. And I'm going to take off on something that he talked about, because as he was going through it, I was trying to put it together in my head, and I was like, wow, that really is way out in left field, number one, but the dots can be put together pretty easily too, if you really want to go that way, right? If you want to be a theorist. So here's his theory. And I don't know if a listener brought this up to him or if Clyde made it, you know, concocted it himself, but it's very good. There was 20 people on this flight from a semiconductor company that's based out of Texas. I think it's Freedom Software or something like that. I'm not exactly sure of the name, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, these 20 people worked on semiconductors, and they built switches and stuff like that. And they were really heavy duty into electronics. And I'm not exactly sure who they were working for over in Malaysia, but it was a government contract. So what if these people were a bunch of brainiacs and they developed a system, a portable system, that you could get onto a plane, that you could switch on while on the plane, that would cloak the plane from all radars, that would put a electronic bubble, if you will, around the plane so that nothing could transmit in or out. And then they could fly this thing anywhere on the planet, and it'd be like a hole in the sky. Nobody could see it. Nobody could track it. I mean, you could probably track the hole if you could, keep a telemetry on the hole, but, it'd almost be like a silent sub, but flying over your head.
Like an F-22 or a B-2.
But kind of, but they didn't have to do all the stealth technology in the skin. You know what I mean? It's not a $1 billion aircraft. It's any aircraft. You can just take this box on any aircraft now and flip it on and poof, you disappeared. You're a ghost.
I said that from actually day one. I said it on day one when that happened. And Dabu was doing the things where it disappeared from radar, but there was no crash and anything else. I'm like, there is some kind of technology. They were able to flip a switch and put a shield or something around it that made it invisible to radar.
Very, very possible. Very intriguing, that this happened. Over 140 people on the plane were Chinese nationals. That would be a huge bargaining chip for the United States in the upcoming war.
Do you remember on the Dabu 7 video where they showed another plane trailing it?
I didn't. I really don't pay a lot of attention to Dumbo 7.
It was a good one because he showed and it was the first couple days of it. He showed inch by inch by inch, line by line, where the flight was going in that real time website that you can view all air traffic in the world. And it was that website, and he was following it, and then another plane came up behind it. And they were theorizing on the radio this evening, when I was on the way back, that, it could have been a drone. Let's say it was a drone that flew near the plane and then activated a cloak at that point. So it wouldn't even have to be on the plane if something pulled up next to the plane and made that happen. They theorized on that too. So, I mean,
Now, here's another thing that came out on Ground Zero. There's a social media site kind of like Twitter out of the Southeast Asia coordinates that's called QQ. I don't know if it's just the 2 letters or I don't know. It's called QQ though, right? There was a post on QQ out of Vietnam that said that this plane crashed north of Ho Chi Minh and there were no survivors. That the local military was trying to get to the area, but because of severe rain, they could not. Some of the roads were washed out, and that they would try to make it in the next day. That was the only thing that I heard out of that. That was the only thing that I saw out of that. They did report seeing an enormous number of fireballs in the sky that night in that particular spot of the globe. And that is plausible that a meteoroid could smash into a plane. It is plausible. The odds are highly against it. And you would have to be a serious ower of karma for a space rock to knock you out of the sky. But it's plausible. There wouldn't be any debris trail. That'd be sure. I mean, if that rock's traveling at 35,000 miles an hour and smashes into a plane, there ain't going to be a whole lot left of that. no matter what size that rock was, because that thing would just start coming apart.
Mm-hmm.
But Boeing issued a statement that said there are several pieces of the fuselage of a 777 that are intentionally made buoyant, and they would be floating. You would be able to see them on the water no matter how small they were broken up into.
Your seats are kind of a flotation device too.
Well, there's a large section of tail that has a sealed air pocket in it that will make the tail bob up and down in the water in the event of a water landing. If the tail comes off or whatever, that's usually what the first thing they see sticking up out of the water is the tail. Because most of these things have a huge open air cavity in the back of the plane. So that was a statement from Boeing. There's several pieces of the fuselage. The tires, so long as they were full of air still and not ruptured, I'm sure that they could haul the gear to the surface because those things were giant.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's something hinky going on. This plane is on the ground somewhere in one piece, I'm guessing, with a bunch of people standing in a terminal going, what the F? We've been here for a week and you're not letting us talk to our families. Here, take this shot. Shut up. Sit down. I don't know, man. It's hinky. I know if my family member was on that plane, I would be climbing the walls. I would be in front of every Malaysia airline office that I could get to, jumping up and down, saying, what's up? What's up? Where's my family? Where's the plane? Somebody knows. Somebody knows. Like you said earlier.
Somebody knows.
And why? Why is this distraction happening right now? What's going on somewhere else on the planet? What's going on?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I've even seen it theorized that I think Rush was talking about it actually. Next time they see that plane, it'll have an EMP or a nuke or something on it. They were able to retrofit it, and they put new transponders in it that'll make it appear that it's another flight that's supposed to be inbound to the United States, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, there are so many just ideas running rampant right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fascinating that everybody's talking about it. No matter where you go, gas stations, restaurants.
Oh yeah, I took my mom up to get her hair done today. The first thing come out of her hairdresser's mouth.
So where's that plane?
Where's that plane?
Yeah, everywhere you go. So where's that plane? What do you think?
Yeah.
What's your theory? Everybody's talking about it.
It's a distraction.
It's a good distraction. I think this weekend's going to be exciting's not the right word. The markets will definitely react to that. The foreign markets open up 8 hours before our market.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything were to happen in those markets, we will definitely have forewarning of it before our markets open. And like I say, it could be an interesting week.
It had 7 hours worth of fuel, and it's been gone for 7 days.
Today's a week, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it disappeared on the 7th.
Yeah, that's what it says. It's been gone for 7 days.
Yeah.
It's on the ground somewhere. It's not floating in the water. If it was floating in the water, if it went down in the water, they'd have found some wreckage by now.
We'd found it.
They'd have found it. There's so many countries over there. There's so many ships. There's so many planes. There's so many satellites pointed at that area of the planet right now. If a mouse farts under a leaf, they see it move.
Well, that's why I'm saying with the satellites, you can't tell me that we don't have the ability to hit rewind on the tape of the world, go back to Malaysia, watch that plane take off, and just keep following it. Follow it for the next 4 hours. Somebody did. Somebody's done that already. So why don't we know where it's at? Somebody's done that.
Was it an alien space bubble?
I don't know about all that.
Did it fly into a black hole?
I don't know about all that.
Was it the Dragon's Triangle?
I don't know about all that either. A Romulan.
Was it a pilot suicide? They've postulated that.
Well, no, you'd find the wreckage. You'd see the wreckage. That's the thing. The transponders would be going off. The black boxes would be going off. As soon as there was an impact. Yeah, as soon as there was an impact, the black boxes would be going off.
That's exactly what makes me think that this plane is on the ground somewhere. This plane has been flown to the ground and landed.
Thank you. I said that day one. I mean, I've been saying that until I see some wreckage, it's sitting on a runway. Somewhere.
If it was crashed, they'd see the trail in the trees because all the coastlines around there are just nothing but forest. I mean, that's all, subtropical, just, a lush area, green everywhere. So you'd see the cut in the forest where it went down. And they've scoured the shit out of everything, every inch of ground, every inch of the water. And now, for whatever reason, the United States says, we're going to go 2,500 kilometers away from you where you guys are looking, and we're going to look over here by Diego Garcia, by where our military base is. Because we think it's over here. We followed it with an AWAC. Yeah, we followed it with an AWAC that you guys didn't know nothing about. We also have technology that told us that it was pinging satellites for 4 hours after you guys lost track of it. We know more than all y'all. And we will probably find it.
Probably find it. I mean, it's been quote unquote found, but how do you find something that was never,
It's sitting on a tarmac at Diego Garcia, I'll bet you.
Yeah, could be.
Bet you.
Could be.
And these people are victims of another false flag event, just like all the passengers on the planes from 9/11. Where are all those people? Where are all those people? There was 3 plane loads, 4 plane loads of people. Where are those people? Because we know, everybody listening to me, and if you don't by now, wake up. We know those planes didn't hit those buildings. That plane didn't go down at Shanksville. Nothing the size of a jetliner hit the Pentagon. The planes that did fly into the buildings in 9/11 were KC-9 tankers. You can tell that from the videotape.
Grayed out.
0 windows.
Painted on or something like that. Or grayed out.
It's just ridiculous, man.
Yep.
So what are they doing with these people? Are these people like DARPA experiments? Did we give them to the Romulans, like you said? Or was it a bargaining chip? The 139 Chinese nationals that were on that flight, or I think that's the number, 139, I'm not sure. But it was well over 100 Chinese nationals on that flight. Are they going to be bargaining chips in the new Central African Republic fight that's coming?
You always got those.
Go ahead.
Well, you always got those people, the 20 that worked for that Chinese company.
Oh, Texas company.
Is it Texas company?
Yeah, based out of Texas.
But it's a Chinese company.
No, it's an American company based out of Texas. They were working in Malaysia.
But none of those people were Americans.
No. They were all Southeast Asian.
So they could be people of interest too for something.
According to the FBI, everybody that was on that flight manifest is being investigated.
Well, there's a credible source of information.
It stinks. This whole thing stinks. Just terrible. And I feel so sorry for these families that are just left in limbo. They have no idea what's going on.
Well, then you've got if it's a orchestrated event and, it's like the 9/11, did it really happen? Did this flight really happen? Are those families, actors too? Because they're not being allowed to talk to the press. They're sequestered into a hangar building. So, when does that idea start holding water that the reason these people aren't allowed to talk to the press and they're not allowed to watch the news and they're, again, sequestered far away, if you're going to theorize on conspiracies, I mean, and say it didn't happen, like I've seen some people say, then if it didn't happen,
that the flight never existed.
Right. If the flight never existed, then, those families are fictitious also.
And here's something else that I heard today that I hadn't heard anywhere else. There were 5 people that were scheduled to be on that flight that never showed up and boarded the plane.
I hadn't heard that one yet.
So there were some open seats on there for some reason. Did they get word? Did somebody call them and say, hey, don't go. Don't get on that flight. It's not going to land. It's going to get sucked up into space by an alien ship. What happened to it? It disappeared off the face of the planet. Did it find a secret entrance to center Earth?
No.
Are they down there playing Yahtzee with the Nordics? What's up with that? What's up with this, U.S. government? You sons of bitches think you know everything.
They know.
You can tell me what color my ass hairs are. Where's this plane?
They know. I mean, they know. There's nothing that goes on this planet that they can't go back and rewind and watch. Nothing.
I know.
They know.
And they're giggling and high-fiving each other. We got away with it, man.
They haven't gotten away with anything. They haven't gotten away with, what was it called? The Philadelphia experiment or whatever, that shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, it could be the same kind of technology. Who knows?
And maybe CERN worked. Maybe we did open some kind of time rip and this thing flew into it. We just haven't found it on the planet. Hey, everybody start looking over by Malaysia. Something disappeared off the planet. Hey, if you guys want to open a time warp and throw something into it, try Fukushima for please. It'd be great if that thing went off into Never Never Land.
Oh shit.
Maybe that's where this plane's headed. Maybe they're going to load it up with a big old bomb and drive it into Fukushima and boom, blow the thing up. It's right on there. It's right there. Right close to it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Diego Garcia. We got about, oh shit, we ain't got enough time. Maybe we'll discuss it tomorrow. You coming on ATLC tomorrow night?
We'll see.
Right.
I'm not sure yet.
I know Chuck's going to be on there.
Oh, cool.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Peace and love.
Thompson, minute off. Thanks, Lance. Peace, everybody. UCY.TV. Stay tuned for Turbeville. Alex Allen and LeBron's on tonight. I got to go past the phones. See ya.